Greetings and salutations. Today we'll be covering the mystifying enigma known as Alyoshenka, or as some have come to call it, the Kyshtym Dwarf. This incident occurred in the hinterlands of Russia, in a village known as Kaloynimvoy, nestled near Kyshtym, Chelyabinsk Oblast in Russia. What occurred in the fateful month of May 1996 was a bizarre event that sent ripples throughout this small community. What we know to be true is that the Alyoshenka is believed to have been a prematurely born female baby who had been born with a litany of deformities, which defy easy description. However, the details have remained a mystery, and with the recent governmental testimonies on UFOs, this enigma has once more been brought to the forefront. However, only mere fragments of evidence, photographs, and videos remain, as grainy relics of a strange and beguiling occurrence. Delving deeper, it becomes clear that Alyoshenka was no ordinary infant. And it all starts in the summer of 1996 in the quaint city of Kyshtym, located deep within the Ural region. This would become the stage for an unsettling spectacle when a retired woman by the name of Tamara Proshvina was seen bearing something hidden within a shroud as she wandered the streets and engaged in eerie conversations. According to eyewitnesses, Tamara fervently declared, "It's my baby Alyoshenka," yet she never unveiled what she had been hiding beneath the blanket. However, curiously enough, she had indeed been a mother, but to a son named Alexey. However, he was far from an infant. In actuality, he was a grown man and at the time incarcerated for theft. The townsfolk were bewildered and perplexed by her activities and ended up concluding that Tamara had succumbed to madness and was conversing with and about an inanimate toy, as she deluded herself into believing it was her estranged son. Later, it was shown that she was not of sound mind due to her mental state being fragile enough to require being committed to a clinic. And while at the clinic, her sanity slowly slipped right through her fingers as they grappled with the weight of what she seemed to believe was a secret that she had to keep. However, the question that many had was what exactly was the presence that she had kept clutched beneath the blanket. Now, it must be noted that some accounts differ, stating that she had actually gone to a regular hospital and that the Alyoshenka had been turned over to the authorities, referred to as the militia. The heart of this enigma emerges from the forested depths of a well. This is a place where ordinary met extraordinary, and it was there that Tamara unearthed an unimaginable being that seemed to defy the boundaries of conventional understanding. Decades have passed since the unsettling days in Kyshtym, and still the enigma of Alyoshenka persists, especially with the recent revelations of extraterrestrial organic life that multiple governments have been admitting to. The question of whether it truly was a malformed infant, an unfortunate victim of nature's capricious hand, or did this being bear the imprint of something more mystifying, something otherworldly, endured, and has gained new legs, as now more than ever the truth remains elusive. Physically, Alyoshenka presented an otherworldly visage, defying the norms of human anatomy, a grayish fetus-like object measuring a mere 25 centimeters or around 9.8 inches in length. It bore a hairless head adorned with peculiar dark spots. Its eyes were hauntingly large and dominated the majority of its face, while the skull exhibited an oddity that seemed to defy conventions of any human cranium. The skull's surface was an eerily smooth abomination with strange ridges converging into a central vein-like pattern reminiscent of that of a leaf. As the mystery developed, the strangeness around Alyoshenka deepened due to an issue with the investigative efforts to obtain DNA. While the efforts were ongoing and the remains surrendered to the authorities, they seemed to just evaporate into thin air. Tamara, along with the authorities, found themselves unable to track down or reclaim the Alyoshenka. In 1999, Tamara would meet a tragic end in a car accident, which some believe it was during an attempt to escape the authorities, while others believe she was eliminated intentionally by the authorities. Speculation and conjecture around this mystifying case would thicken due to one local ufologist boldly claiming that Alyoshenka's remains were spirited away by an unidentified flying object, inhabited by beings similar to the enigmatic fetus. Skeptics, on the other hand, proposed a theory where a wealthy collector might have acquired the enigmatic remains by bribing the authorities. Adding another layer of intrigue into the case, a doctor from the local hospital, who purportedly had seen the enigmatic corpse, offered a divergent perspective. According to this medical expert, the entity resembled a human fetus of anywhere between 20 to 25 weeks old, which was born prematurely and held the potential to survive without medical assistance for several hours. However, it would not have survived for the several weeks as Tamara had claimed it had. This, however, goes against the eyewitness sighting by one of Tamara's friends, where she recalled dealing with a humanoid with a brown body, no hair, big protruding eyes, moving its tiny lips and making squeaking sounds. This would have been significantly after the several hours that such an infant could have survived, and was within the eerie silence of Tamara's apartment. And supposedly it had a peculiar onion-shaped form, which seemed unsettlingly inhuman. Yet another witness, this time the deceased daughter-in-law, painted a haunting picture. She recounts a scene where the woman fed this strange baby cottage cheese and milk, and noted that with its red, round mouth and sorrowful gaze, it would continue to eat while leaving a disquieting mark on those who bore witness to it. The daughter-in-law's words were noted to carry a certain sense of melancholy, as she recalled the deep-seated pain that overcame her while in the presence of this being. Accounts by the local populace diverge even further, creating an intricate web of contradictions. Vyacheslav Nagovsky mentioned a hairy dwarf with blue eyes, in stark contrast with Nina Glazriania, another friend of the deceased, who described a being with big eyes and mentioned a light amount of hair. Discrepancies were abound, but there was one undeniable consensus which emerged from these conflicting testimonies. It was that the Alyoshenka appeared to all those who bore witness to it as being a real alien. However, the bewildering eyewitness accounts have to be taken with a grain of salt due to doubt being cast on certain testimonies, as it was revealed that the latter two individuals had been plagued by severe addiction and alcoholism, leaving their accounts under a cloud of uncertainty. However, the mysteries of Kyshtym run deeper than this singular incident. This is due to the disaster which occurred in 1957. This desolate region would be the stage for a cataclysm of nuclear proportions, being the first nuclear disaster in Soviet history. Myakka, a clandestine nuclear power station nestled nearby, became a nightmarish calamity when plutonium erupted in a devastating explosion, propelling 160 tons of concrete into the heavens. This incident stands as one of the gravest nuclear catastrophes in human history, following those of both Fukushima in 2011 and Chernobyl in 1986. This very region became imbued with an insidious poison, as radiation would taint the land around it. The aftermath of these events included unsettling phenomena noted by fishermen casting their nets into the tainted waters, hauling in grotesque aberrations such as fish with no eyes, fish lacking fins, gelatinous masses, amongst other things. Their mutated forms a testimony to the lingering radiation which coursed through the very lifeblood of Kyshtym. This raises a question: could the Alyoshenka, in all its strangeness, just be a deformed child, and all its strangeness just be a result of radiation, a mutant byproduct of a nuclear catastrophe? Eventually, the words of journalist Andrei Loshak, who ventured into the enigma, would go as follows. Perhaps Alyoshenka was an extraterrestrial humanoid, but in this case he made a mistake in entering Kyshtym. Eventually, investigator Vladimir Bendlin would venture into the labyrinthian corridors of this strange saga, as he dared to probe into the enigma of Alyoshenki, while remaining resolutely sober. He was a police officer who had originally seized the remains from the clutches of a thief and became an unlikely guardian, if temporarily, over this macabre relic. But in the pursuit of truth, he would encounter some unexpected obstacles. In particular, his superior displayed an unsettling indifference to the case, brushing it aside as nonsense. Undeterred by skepticism, Vladimir emerged as a figure reminiscent of the iconic fox Mulder, and with Alyoshenka's enigmatic preserved form in his fridge, he would embark on a quest for answers. This was an odyssey which strained the boundaries of his personal life. The sacrifices demanded by this investigation were, as he would grimly state, a source of strife with his own wife. However, in his relentless pursuit of truth, he was led to consult with experts, but their conclusions only deepened the enigma. A local pathologist made a shocking assertion, proclaiming that Alyoshenka was not of human origin, while a gynecologist, who had also been questioned about this incident, countered by saying that the corpse was merely a child, marred by grotesque deformations. However, Vladimir would make a mistake which would reverberate through the annals of this investigation. He would go so far as to entrust the body of this enigmatic dwarf to UFOologists who had been supposedly helping him out of their own goodwill, only for them to spirit away Alyoshenka, leaving nothing but a void in their wake. Even their identities appeared to be falsehoods. Another individual of note in the saga of Alyoshenka is Dr. Irina Yermolaeva, who entered the fray and began an analysis of the body, and she would confirm that this was indeed no mere hoax, but instead this was a bona fide mummified body. Her chilling assessment suggested that it might have been a premature child afflicted by harrowing deformities, and she would directly link it to the tragedy of the Kyshtym 1957 disaster. However, there is also clinical assistant Lyubov Romanova, who herself was well acquainted with childhood deformities and deformities caused by radiation, and she would express a statement of profound perplexity. In her eyes, Alyoshenka defied categorization as a mere human deformity. She would highlight the unsettling disparities, including a skull adorned with sharp-edged bones, fundamentally distinct from anything human. Later, in March 2018, a glimmer of insight emerged, as a study of a similar enigmatic skeleton, the Atacama specimen, suggested the extreme rarity but undeniable possibility of such profound mutations in bone and muscle formation. As the shadows of uncertainty continued to envelop this enigmatic tale, and indeed spread thanks to the admissions of both the American government and more recently, the Mexican government, the true nature of Alyoshenka continues to confound and captivate many a curious mind. Was it truly a human marred by deformities, or was it something more otherworldly? The question for answers remains unabated, as the only scraps of evidence that are left are photographs and recordings. Due to this, Alyoshenka is likely to remain a force that continues to beckon us into the uncharted territories of human curiosity. If you remained with me until the end, I thank you, and I do hope you stay tuned and subscribe for more content.